Al doing stuff without being asked, and we are very thankful for that. So Al, tell us what Grace Church means to you.
Thank you. Grace United Methodist Church has been Leanna's and my church home for about 40 years. And something that has always impressed me about Grace is its generosity. The people of Grace are generous. In our first year here, we learned about the tradition of the Christmas tree in the education wing, where it held ornaments, each one with a different child's name on it, supplied by ChildServe. The idea is to select an ornament and buy Christmas gifts for that child. One of the things Leanna quickly learned is that if she didn't hustle out of worship and get over to the education wing quickly, the ornaments would all be gone and she would miss out. The people of Grace are generous. For most of our years here, there has been a large basket in the entryway where we would put food donations from time to time, which were distributed by the Lake Bluff Fire Department for a while and other organizations to those who needed them. A couple of years ago, a group of Grace members took that to a whole new level. They created Say Grace and partnered with North Chicago Community Services. Now we receive information each month about what specific items are needed between food and personal care items. The Say Grace team gathers our donations, delivers them to the organization, that bags and boxes of food and personal hygiene, and distributes it to the people. Again, the people of Grace are generous. I fondly remember working directly with the PADS organization many years ago, when we would not only donate food, but we would donate some time. I worked several 2-hour shifts at 2 a.m. with either Will Ling or Mark Dewart, offering a presence to the 40 or so people who would gather in a Waukegan church basement to sleep indoors during cold weather. And for a couple of years, some of the church youth, plus maybe 2 or 3 Boy Scouts, would come along with us in the evening to set up the pads, digging them out of the closet, putting sheets and blankets on the mattresses, laying them out on the floor. And if we had an early morning shift, then we did the reverse, taking the beds back apart, wiping them down, wiping the mattresses down, and storing them back in the closet. Currently, Grace Church provides food once a month to PADS, October through April, and the dinners are served to the homeless at a location in Mundelein. The amount of food that we provide is substantial. The people of Grace never back down. The people of Grace are generous. Many of my fondest memories at Grace were the summers when Leanna and I would help lead a week-long youth and adult mission trip. 20 or more teens and several adult chaperones went to various locations in nearby states to do hands-on mission work, from home repairs, cleaning and painting, building a fence around a city block, playground, to helping build a home or rebuild a home that had been totally flooded, and putting a roof on a house in Appalachia, and many, many other projects over 8 to 9 years. Most of the funding for these trips came from Grace Church members. I will never forget one year when a week before the trip, we were still quite short on funds. I made an appeal during worship that Sunday. Afterwards, as the mission team was gathered in the fireplace room, congregation members began walking in and bringing us another check. One young girl, who was about 6 years old, came to the doorway, and I saw her mother point me out and hand her something. She walked straight up to me and gave me a check for $1,000. By the end of, and that was $1,000 25 years ago. Very different. By the end of that morning, we were fully funded for the mission trip. The people of Grace are very generous. And then there are the Christmas tree sales. Everybody knows about those. The first year, we did some research by calling 3 or 4 other organizations who had held sales in nearby towns for a few years. We needed to know what we were getting into if we did this. They all said something like this: you won't make money your first year. You'll probably lose money, maybe a couple of $1,000s. But stay with it, because you'll learn and you can make significant amounts for your organization in future years. So we did a little more research, called a couple of tree growers, got their price books, and concluded that we would start with 100 trees. That would cost us about $2,000, which we didn't have. So I made an appeal to the administrative board asking if they were willing to front us $2,000 to purchase the trees, with full disclosure that we might not make any money the first year. To my surprise, the board granted our request and fronted us the money for the trees. With the generous help of many Grace Church members, youth and adults, we sold all the trees and took in over 4,000 gross that year. We were able to pay back what the church board had advanced us and fund a youth mission trip that next summer. I'm sure you can think of many more examples of experiences here at Safe Grace that I'm not aware of, similar to these. And the people of Grace are always very generous with their time and with their money for mission and ministries, for people in places nearby and all around the globe. It's who we are and what we do. That is what has always impressed me the most about Grace Church.
When people ask me about Grace Church, I always say, it's small, but it has a huge heart and soul. In a time when families like mine are scattered around the country, Grace Church has become like a second family to me. There are so many wonderful people here who never cease to amaze me with their warmth and thoughtful gestures. I especially love how much Grace family cares about my kids. I love the sweet acts of kindness they show them and encouragement they give them. I love that my daughter can play the piano here on Sundays and boost her confidence. I love that my son feels so at home at Grace that he knows the best hide and seek spots for the youth lock-ins. I love the many inspiring role models there are at this church. Derek and I often find ourselves saying, we want to be just like them when we grow up. I love the friendships that Derek and I have developed with the other parents in the church. And I love the friendships that my children have developed with the other youth in the church. I love that I've joined other community organizations because of invitations from my friends at Grace. When I sit in these pews and when I look at all the pictures around the fellowship hall, I love feeling connected to the rich Grace history and to all the people who have passed through here. I also feel connected to my Oklahoma family, as I come from a long line of Methodists. When we sing the old wonderful Methodist hymns, I can hear my grandmother's voice in my head. I love that I can see my sister and nieces here on Sunday. Seeing the four cousins together reminds me of my own childhood, going to church with my sister and my cousins, and to all those special bonds and memories made. And of course, all those beloved Methodist potlucks. I love the amazing outreach work that this small but mighty church does. When I hear people talk about how great the Christmas tree sale is, I proudly say, hey, that's my church. I love having a church where people feel comfortable to share prayer requests, which I can focus on throughout the week. I love to hear Pastor Cal's thoughtful messages, enjoy Jordan's gorgeous music, and see Stacy's delight in working with our youth. Coming to Grace on Sundays allows me to hit the reset button to get ready for the week. It fills me with warmth and encouragement and helps me remember to always strive to be a better Christian, a better person in this big, complex, and beautiful world of ours. I'm so grateful for Grace. Thank you.